Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Kareem. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu amma ba'd. Respected brothers, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us inshallah the reward of coming for the Salat al-Jum'ah. It is really a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the tawfiq for these a'mal. We all know that La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, this kalima, is the kalima that is required for any one of us to enter into Jannah. It's a small kalima. But the person who says this in his heart with even a little bit of belief in this person will eventually be taken into Jannah. So a person that was in the fire of Jahannam, but because he had one iota of faith, just one atom of faith in La ilaha illallah, this person, eventually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put him into Jannah. And what is Jannah? Jannah, the smallest Jannah that a person will get is 10 times the size of this world. Just imagine if all the riches of the world were to be given to you, how happy would a person become? Whatever you wanted, whatever you can think about in this world, if you were given, this would be more than enough for anybody. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to that person who has even a little bit of the belief in La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, Allah will give that person a Jannah that is 10 times larger than this world. And what is the akhirah? The akhirah is a thing that a person, a human being can never imagine in his heart. He cannot see, he cannot hear, and he cannot imagine in his heart what Jannah will contain. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought us here in this masjid to pray Salat al-Jum'ah, which is a level beyond accepting La ilaha illallah. Because a person, he accepts La ilaha illallah, only then he understands the commands to perform the salat, the commands of the various commands of deen. So a person, he says La ilaha illallah, then he performs the prayers. This person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has really, really, truly blessed him. So, it becomes a routine sometimes for us to come for Jama'ah. It becomes a routine for us to come to the masjid for the 5 times prayer. But we should think about what this really means. And obviously on top of that, as much as possible to increase that. So a person, he comes once a week for salat. Now, if he understands the reward and the nature and the blessing that salat is to pray in the masjid, we all know that a person who prays in the masjid, how many times more reward does he get than praying at home alone? 25 or 27, right? Most of us have heard this. So, a person who is going once to the masjid, he should make an attempt to go every day to the masjid. So once a week, a person should make an intention to go every day. The person who's going every day should make an intention to go twice a day, and so on, until one reaches 5 times salat, which is the ideal, which is the thing that was actually the standard of the Sahaba. So in any case, my brothers, the reason I brought this up is that whatever good that we see around us is a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of us, mashallah, most of us live in this area, in the Chicagoland area, and we all know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us over the past couple of decades with an increase and a growth of the Muslim community. Those of you who were here 3-4 decades ago know that in the entire suburban land Chicago, there was not a single masjid. Only masjid in Chicago. Maybe I may be missing 1 or 2, but in general, there was no masjid in the suburbs. There was only 1 or 2 masjids in the city. And then over time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us tawfiq, the community, that Allah grew the masajid, and the masajid grew over time. And now, sometimes in one suburb, we have several masajid. And this is not just Chicago. I remember I was in Dallas back in the mid or early 90s, and there was those of you may know Plano. Plano is a suburb of Dallas. There was one musalla there, And one of my close friends recently moved to Dallas in that area, and he just told me that there's, mashallah, 3 masjids in that area now. And not a small masjid, but huge masjids. He sent me a photo of a registration for Sunday school. And he said it's like the DMV. You have lines of people that are sitting in chairs, and there's maybe 10 lines or 20 lines. I don't know how many, but it looked like a lot. So this is the growth in one place from the mid 90s to 2019, about maybe 20-25 years. So now tell me, my brothers, is this not a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I was just mentioning, I gave the same speech in the first khutbah. I was mentioning that I remember my grandfather, when we were kids, like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, when he would come to the US, he would try to convince me and my siblings to talk to my dad that go back, because your children's deen will not survive. He was so worried about that. And in all of Chicago, every masjid would have to call a hafiz from overseas to lead Taraweeh prayer. And now, mashallah, our masajid, each one of them has a hifz school. I came in early today and I saw, mashallah, all these kids studying in the back. This is the hifz school of this masjid, mashallah. And I believe maybe four graduates this year. Alhamdulillah, I'm coming from Masjid Uthman. In our own masjid, mashallah, we had 3 female graduates, 5 male graduates of hifz just in this year. This is not including the year before. So this is a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what will come after this. A person who 20, 30 years ago could not imagine that that there could be a hafiz studied locally here in Chicagoland area, and hufaz had to come from abroad in order to lead the salat for during Ramadan. Could that person imagine that there would be so many masajid, so much growth in the community 20, 30 years later? Nobody would have imagined that. So my brothers, imagine what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could potentially bless us with in another 20, 30 years. It is not unimaginable that there is as much growth as we've had this past several decades. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us more growth. And these masajid that have multiplied, tell me, have they decreased in the people attending those masajid, or have they increased? See, I'm observing the heads. Everybody is saying yes, they've increased. MashaAllah, this masjid has 2 salat. This is the second salat al-Jumu'ah. Why? Because there's a need. You know better than I do, because I probably don't come as often as you do here. But people are parking in those streets, in the side streets, on one subdivision, in a different subdivision, because this parking lot is completely full. So this is the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us all this. So the first thing that we should do is we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the bottom of our heart, that Ya Allah, this is your blessing, and that you are choosing us and our community for something great, and please do not deprive us of this, and keep us growing. And do not let me be an outlier. Just as the community grows, let me also grow personally in my deen. The second thing is that as we grow, we have to avoid also some of the pitfalls of growth. What are the pitfalls of growth? That whatever we do, you see, as the Muslim community grows, back in the day when there was a very few Muslims, it was not popular to practice the deen. To send your kid to become a hafiz, to gain the knowledge of the deen, this was not something popular. In fact, you really had to go against the tide. Now what's happened is, to be on the deen is something that people appreciate. And so now this is a test of our ikhlas. That whatever we do it only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it's very easy for a person to do dini work or to do dini a'mal for one's status in society. And we all know that, this is a hadith that most of us have probably already heard, that there will be 3 people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask them what they did in this world, and they will give an account of things that they did that were very good. A person, he died in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was a shaheed. A person, he was very generous and he gave a large amount of wealth in the path of Allah. And then there's a person who learned and he taught and he recited the Quran for this, not for the sake of Allah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask them, each one of them, and will recount the ni'mah that He gave them. And then He'll ask them what they did. And each of these people will tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what they did. They died for the sake of Allah. They learned the knowledge and they spread it for the sake of Allah. And then they spent their wealth in good causes. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell all of them that you did this because you wanted people to call you generous, or they wanted to call you an alim, or they wanted to call you brave. And so these people, they will be deprived of Jannah. Why? Because what they did was not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my brothers, the point that I'm saying is that one thing we always have to remember is that whatever we do it only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the point of this, of relating this hadith, is not to say that we should not do these things. We should not spend in the path of Allah, that we should not seek the knowledge for the sake of Allah, but we have to do it with the right intention. And how do we test our intention? That whatever we do, we should be happy when others do the same thing. My kid is a hafiz, mashallah, he reads well, but my friend's kid reads better. Now, am I happy or am I sad? I should be happy, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given that blessing to that person. If a person, he is teaching, and this halaqah is bigger than this halaqah, but I'm part of this halaqah, I should be happy because this person is also doing the work of deen. This is all a common burden that we are raising ourselves, right? A person, he has to lift something. The ummah has to lift something. They have to do something. If more people are helping to lift that thing, is that something to be happy about or sad about? So if we are doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this is something that we'll be happy. And the second is, whatever we do, we should do it in a way that it does not publicize ourselves. It's very easy in modern society to become like the corporate marketing scheme, right? That even our masajid, we're marketing ourselves the way that corporations market themselves. But the reality of this, my brothers, is that the work of deen is very different. It is done with a different set of parameters. And so whatever good work we do, we should do it in a way that we protect ourselves, that we are not doing it to show off. It doesn't mean that some of the things that we do should not be shown. Usually, if a person gives sadaqah, it's better to be done in secret. But in certain situations, to encourage other people, it's good to do it in public as well. So this is not like a hard and fast rule. But whatever things that we do, we should do them and protect them, because we are doing them for the sake of Allah. If we do all of these things, coming to the masjid, spending in the path of Allah, helping to build institutions, but we're doing this because we are trying to promote ourselves, then my brothers, how will we stand in front of Allah on the Day of Judgment? Think about all the things that are in our own lives. If we are doing this and spending all this money, spending all this energy, but at the end of the day it's not acceptable in front of Allah, then what use is it for us? So this is something we should think about, that whatever we do, let's protect it, make it strong, so that we can go in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and claim it as something that was that can be a means for us to go into Jannah. My brothers, I know I believe I need to end quickly, but I just wanted to talk to you that, mashallah, of the many projects that are being done for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is one project that I represent and that I'm here for, is Masjid Uthman. Mashallah, many of you would be aware that construction is in progress. Many years ago, we had to purchase the land. That took a lot of effort. Alhamdulillah, we purchased it. Then we had to go through the zoning. People were questioning whether we would get the zoning. Alhamdulillah, we got the zoning. Then construction started. Alhamdulillah, now we are past the 50% mark. The outer part of the building has been done. And in order for this project to be completed, we need funds. And for this, inshallah, we have a fundraising dinner on October 19th at Shalimar Banquets. This is on a Saturday, October 19th at Shalimar Banquets. And the speaker will be Sheikh Saad Qadri. And the goal of this dinner is to keep the construction continuing so we can finish the masjid as soon as possible. So one thing, my request is that we ask all of you that even if this is not your community, but this is a work of deen that is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that inshallah, by investing in it, and inshallah in 1 or 2 more minutes, I'll give you some more detail on what is going on and how this will benefit you and benefit the community. But by investing in it, inshallah, you're investing in your own akhirah. This is our belief in the unseen. that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by our time and our wealth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us something in the akhirah. So we ask you, first of all, to attend. Second of all, to donate to build this masjid whatever you can. And we have brothers at both entrances that they will be not only selling tickets for the event on October 19th, but they will also be collecting donations. So whatever you can give for the sake of Allah, to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy, we ask that you do that. But alhamdulillah, beyond the construction, and inshallah I'll finish up in a minute or two, there are so many activities that are going on in this masjid, alhamdulillah. As I mentioned earlier, our HIFZ program graduated 8 Hufaz this past year. Our after school Islamic studies program within 4 years has grown from 20 some students to 75, and mashallah continuing to grow. And this program is so successful, and this is what I want you to think about, that mashallah several masajid came this past year and asked us, can you help us also get established with our maktab after school system for teaching young kids from 5 to 15 years old or 5 to 18 years old. And mashallah, this past weekend we had a workshop for our teachers. It was a 6-hour session that we do every year to train the teachers on how to teach in the system, that system that we've developed. And alhamdulillah, we had several masajid coming, and 6 masjids made an intention that they will establish that same system in their own masjids. So now the work that's going on in this one location is benefiting how many other locations? So inshallah, this is how we are as Muslims. We cooperate, we promote, because the ummah is our ummah. This is all of the masajid are masajid. So inshallah, by investing in this masjid, you will also be investing in the entire community. So inshallah, again, once again, brothers will be outside, and we request you that whatever you can, inshallah, do, and also make dua, special dua, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala quickly completes the construction and allows the benefit to come to the entire community. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Just make your way forward, fill in the gaps. Inshallah, tonight we have a sisters event, mother and daughter bonfire at 7 p.m. with the guest speaker, Alim and Hafiz Ruqayya Ahmad will be speaking on the story of the wife of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. This will be in the Masjid parking lot. Girls who are attending under the age of 13 are requested to come along with their mothers, inshallah ta'ala. Sunday school will be starting on September 8th. Please register your children online. Also, our HIFS program, full time and part time, is open for enrollment. And also, our Maktab program, after school program for children ages 5 through 13, where they learn basic Quranic recitation, Islamic studies, will also be starting, inshallah, September 9th, in about a week's time. For that program, we encourage everyone to register their children. You have two options: either you can come here on site at the masjid tomorrow between 12:30 and 2:30 and register your children. Alternately, you can also go on our website msiweb.org, click on the Maktab tab, and register your children via that avenue also, inshallah ta'ala. Next Friday, we have a special program regarding the month of Muharram and the day of Ashura, its benefits, its history, with guest speaker Mufti Yasir Nadeem, inshallah, from Al-Jinn IIE. He will be addressing us on this topic. So please come, inshallah, with your families and benefit from that program as well. Jazakallah.